Well, it appears that I'm live. So I wanted to give everybody a quick update on tomorrow's show with David Icke, and wanted to be able to give you some direction on questions if you do have any questions for David that you would like me to ask him. And you can email those questions to dbroes@gmail.com. I see people flowing in to the room, but nobody in chat. Interesting. Strange how that works. Let me see if I can go to the channel and pick that up. Pick that. There. Now I'm seeing things here. Strange that it's not showing up in my regular chat here. Pop out chat. Let me see. There we go. I've got that working. So now I can at least say hello. There was nobody's chat was showing up. It was odd. The room was filling up and no one's chat. So good to see everybody here. Hopi NG, good to see you, Hopi. I'm glad you found that information useful. Tracy, good to see you. Lori, Janet, Kimberly, I believe. Ken Connor, good to see you, Ken. Always. Mr. Scrub. Yes, there are always gremlins when I go live. I just can't even imagine life without gremlins. Good to see Best Damn Podcast. Have you guys seen his channel blowing up? Awesome. John's doing awesome. Great podcast, everybody. If you haven't subscribed to John's channel, the Best Damn Podcast, find him in the chat section here. And so I wanted to not going to spend a whole lot of time because I'm still trying to do a little bit more research on David Icke and watch as much of his material as I possibly can. And I sent Naughty Beaver an email today just for those of you who are concerned about him. I have yet to hear back, but I'm sure I will. And hopefully he's all right. So David Icke is tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. my time. So I'm going to try to get some extra sleep tonight. That's why I'm not going to take a whole lot of time tonight. Best Damn Podcast says, I don't watch me, I watch Global Witness. So, yeah, say prayers for Naughty. Make sure that he's all right. I'm sure he's okay. Naughty has a way of being a recluse when he needs to. He's taken his channel down a few times before too. So he's had a few different channels, and I think at one point he had 500,000 subscribers and took his whole channel down. So that's just Naughty. So hopefully Naughty, if you're listening, reach out, let me know brother's all right. And so I wanted to just quickly give you that update. And if you have questions that you would like me to ask David, email them to me at dbroes@gmail.com. And if Tracy or somebody could post that in the chat, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm really looking forward to talking to David. I know that he's quite a controversial character. There are many people that that have their beliefs about him. I've had lots of people contact me saying, he's of the CIA and all sorts of stuff. But you know how I go about things. So I'm not an accuser. I don't do that. I will simply talk to him straightforward about the things that I see, and would like to hear his story as to how he sees the things that he sees. Hi, Kimmy Moss. Good to see you. So I wanted to also, it's amazing. I was watching last night. Here, let me show that address. There you go. Thank you all. Last night we were watching A Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams. So I'm sure everybody has seen that movie. And I found it funny that story, the story of Christ, or the story of being spoken to by the Spirit, is very, very common. And the reaction is always the same. So remember, Kevin Costner's family thought he was nuts, thought what he was doing was crazy, and you all can sympathize with his character. And so it was just funny to watch that. And I was just telling Malia, boy, it's always the same. It's always the same reaction. But yet these people that call us crazy can open their Bibles and see about all of these people being spoken to by the Spirit, but yet it's normal for them, but yet it's not normal for you. So, except CERN. Yes, but here's the one thing. So here's where I do disagree with CERN and the Mandela effect being a part of that movie, because people believe that it was, if you build it, he will come, or if you build it, they will come. Well, the movie, the screenplay, which I read before the movie was even made, said if you build it, he will come. It was always he will come. But at the end of the movie, they reference, if you build it, they will come. All of the people coming in to support that were driving in to witness the baseball game. But the movie was always about redemption, of easing the pain of his father that had missed his son. So it was always about getting his father. That's why he said when his father shows up in the movie, ease his pain, he will come. So that was always part of it, even before the movie was made. So I can personally debunk that as a Mandela effect, just to let you know. In fact, I found that being the most compelling part of the movie, that he could redeem himself with his father after the fact by basically forgiving his father. And this is where forgiveness is critical to our own redemption. In first forgiving yourself. So how he was able to forgive himself was by being obedient to what he was supposed to do. So these are the types of things actually that I'll end up talking to David about, because David, although he has many conspiracy elements to what he speaks of, he also has a highly spiritual component to it. But with that said, there is, and it was interesting because I was talking to Dana Ashley today about it, because we both see things quite differently. First of all, we both understand Paul's contribution to the situation of the world. So, but what we were discussing is how there are always two very, very similar agendas going. So that from a Luciferian standpoint, the Luciferians have a very similar understanding to Christianity, just different characters. So ultimately, Christianity believes in this Christ utopia, or they're going to be raptured before that, which isn't scriptural. Not at all. In fact, the rapture was something that was introduced quite later. In fact, it was only introduced in the last few hundred years, in fact. So, but they believe in this Jesus utopia, and the Luciferians believe in this Luciferian utopia. So this is where, when speaking the truth about what the reality is, when you're in the middle of those two things, you're either going to be considered, if you're using the dogmatic statements of the Christian church, you're going to sound like a dogmatic Christian. Or on the other end, you're going to sound like a Luciferian. But in the middle, when you speak about which piece of truth is actually true, you can be called, if you're not using the I would say the terminology, the words that the Catholic Church would say, or the Christian Church, Protestant Church by and large would say, if you're not using their words, well, you must be a Luciferian. And if you're not using the Luciferian words, then you must be a Christian. So I get accused of being a religious Christian by Luciferians, and I get accused of being a Luciferian by Christians. So there you go. Because the reality is the middle way. So, like I've always said, you can't put me in a box. There is no box strong enough to hold this truth. That just isn't. So yes, David Icke is tomorrow at 7 a.m. Arizona time. That means it's going to be 6 a.m. Pacific time. So if you can set your alarm clock, if you're willing to get up that early, please do so. I am still waiting to hear back today. I sent just a confirmation notice to him, so hopefully he shows up. I'm pretty sure he will. I believe it's his son that I've been communicating with primarily, and his son's name is Jamie. He also has content out there. And Michelle DeHaven says, I'm a Gnostic Luciferian. You know, it's quite amazing that the Gnostics, think about something for 1 minute here. The Gnostics were primarily Thomas, Philip, Peter. Yeah, you know, those apostles of Christ. Yeah, those. They were being killed. Now, think about this. Why would the Gnostics be killed? Why would the Gnostics be pursued? Why would their works be burned and hidden for a few thousand years if what they had was simply BS? It was exposing the archonic system. So, and also think about this. Place yourself back a few thousand years. You didn't have the internet. You didn't have access to massive libraries. These people did not have access to that. But somehow they could imagine that the universe had an architect, an evil architect that was running the show. Imagine what a stretch that would be. Now, if that was such a stretch to think about, and they didn't have a lot of truth, would they have been pursued and killed and their works burned? I think not. So, there are many things that have been lumped into Gnosticism. And so when they will take the writings that were thrown out that the actual apostles wrote, well, then you should really consider that as a conspiracy against the followers of Christ, because then they bring in all of these other writers, Paul, namely Paul, and they assemble 66 books. So when did God ever like the number 66? I'm just saying. So with that said, I believe, and I'm going to, I know that of late that David Icke has been speaking about the Gnostics and about the Nag Hammadi texts quite extensively. So I know that he's had varying opinions even about things that he's previously said, because through enlightenment, when you are being awoken to truths that destroy your previous understandings, translating that is always difficult. And so at first, there is a tremendous amount of confusion, but it feels so real, but you want to be able to put your finger on something. Unfortunately, the English language limits your ability to actually convey these truths. So with that, I believe that David has probably had some opinions early on that have changed. But I would like to talk to him, yes, about the conspiracies. Yes, I want to get his opinions on the blue blood reptilians. Yes, I want to get his opinion on things like Enki and Enlil and the ancient Sumerian texts. But I'd very much like to understand his understanding of the spiritual. So not to judge him at all. And I would like to be able to share with him my understanding of that. So I think it'll be a really really good discussion. I think in many ways that he has a tremendous amount of things that he knows that is incredibly true. Some things do not completely resonate with me, but as you know me, that doesn't bother me. There's plenty of people that I've communicated with that have different beliefs and different understandings of things that don't resonate with me, but that doesn't prevent me from speaking with them, although I get persecuted for speaking with them. But just to dispel any myths, I keep getting a lot of emails and communications about me not liking Jeffrey Doherty anymore or something like that, or him not liking me. That isn't true. I love Jeff, and I always will. So put that to bed. So I was hoping to be able to have Jeff join the show possibly, but I think hopefully David will just be able to join Jeff's show so he and Jay can have a discussion with them independently. Because I think that I probably will have different questions for David than they would, and I'd like to really just dig into the spiritual components with him. And I think that that's more of his passion. So I think David and I will be good together. I've got it scheduled for 2 hours. I don't know whether David can spend the entire 2 hours, but I will take as long as he will give me. If he wants to go 4 hours, I'll go 4 hours. So I have plenty to talk about, and I think it's going to be a tremendous time. I think personally, David has been at this for 20 years, much longer than I have. And with that, he has seen and felt and understood a lot. Now, like I said, I give everybody the liberty to change their minds or to change their understanding. And so I'm not going to hold his feet to the fire about things that he said in the past. I think he probably truly believes in what he believes. So that's always something to be respected and honored, because not a lot of people are willing to do what he does. And he has taken a tremendous amount of heat. It had a very negative impact on him. Initially, he was an outcast. He couldn't even walk down the street. So to be somebody that was a footballer and very well known in broadcast and in the media and in the news, and then in politics, to be scorned, it had a very negative impact on his children that his dad was seen as complete nutball. So I respect his ability to continue to pursue what he does and to not give up on the quest, because this is not easy, folks. This is difficult stuff. Obviously, you really truly have to be in a place of spiritual rest in order to do it, because I can't even express the amount of hatred that comes in the direction of all of us, and many people can't handle it. They really truly can't, and they run from it. I bring whenever anybody is willing to do a show with me, understand that my haters become their haters. So it's tough, and I fully understand that. I don't fret anybody for shying away from it. I never will, and I will never shy away from them, but I fully understand if they shy away from me. So, but the same goes for many of you. As John can attest to, that it's difficult and the attacks are heavy. And so, but I always say, let that be a confirmation that Christ promised that you would be persecuted. He promised that you would be hated because of him. And if that promise isn't being fulfilled in the things that you are speaking within your religious organization, then you need to question whether you're actually speaking what he spoke. John says, I get slammed with you now. I'm honored. Yeah, you just have to take it that way. Tracy says, yes, because you tear down temples and castles and all kinds of other things. Yes, the fake ones, the paper temples, the paper castles. Definitely, those are going to fall. So Alley-oop says, but look what they're missing. Yeah, they're missing this little quick live show. I love the growth that I'm seeing. I apologize that I haven't been in Discord lately that much. I will be back. Sometimes it's necessary for me just to withdraw for a little bit, be by myself. And also, I have to actually try to alleviate some of the bills and things too. So I have to try to find ways to make some money as well, just like everybody else. I would much rather be speaking to you, but sometimes it's required. So everyone here is awesome. I love this family, says Mama Jamna, or One Bad Mama Jamna. You seem new. David Lorty, you seem new. David Lorty, I can't turn on Super Chat because this channel is not monetized. So that is a requirement for Super Chat. Yes, I love this room too. I absolutely get a joy out of seeing all of the love expressed to one another and people answering other people's questions. That's the one thing that I think that Discord is so remarkable for, is that it allows everybody to grow. The teacher becomes the teacher, the student becomes the student, and then the student becomes the teacher for someone else. It's beautiful to watch. It's not easy, as you all know. And it's also not easy for people to go into a central location like that. We are built with such judgment in our heart that it's difficult for some people. They'll go, oh, I just can't take it. There's too many different variant opinions. That's hard for some people. I understand that as well. But as I've always tried to continually say, is that there are many paths up the mountain, and all of them are uphill. But we don't get to judge somebody else's path. The only time that you get to really judge the path should be judged by yourself. If your path is knocking boulders on top of the head of somebody else, well, then that's the problem. Then you need to change that path. Being sovereign and managing your own kingdom is just that. Don't let this kingdom invade somebody else's. The minute that happens, you've abused that. That's where you love thy brother, love thy neighbor as thyself. So, with that said, is everybody going to join tomorrow morning? Is everybody going to wake up with me and be on at 7 a.m.? I sure hope so, because I'm going to need the support, because I'll be tired. I don't wake up at 7 a.m. anymore. I like to sleep. I enjoy my sleep. All right. So very good to see everybody here tonight. I just wanted to remind you all that I love you very much. Remind you to send me any questions that you would like me to ask David to my Gmail, and I will try to get to them, time permitting. 6 a.m. Pacific time, yes. 7 a.m. Arizona time. 9 a.m. Eastern time. And that will be 2 p.m. UK time for David. So I love you very much, and I'll see you all tomorrow morning with David.